when you think about the trade-offs people care about when they're earning Bitcoin or earning any money for that matter, I think of a few that come to mind. Speed being one of them, fees being one of them, short-term price stability is another one. What do you think people care most about? What have you learned from the users you have now? Where do you think that's headed? Do you think, and I'm trying to get an idea for like where these transactions are going to be taking place over time. Is this going to be happening on Bitcoin's main chain? Is this going to be happening on a side chain like Liquid? Is this going to be happening on Lightning? And I think those different factors, the answer depends on what people prefer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a very tough question to answer because things are evolving so fast, right? Like, I mean, we look how fast the Lightning Network is developing now. We're like well over 4,000 Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. Like, you're able to accept bigger and bigger payments, whereas before it was thought of as just like really small payments, right? Like, you know, I went out to dinner last night here in Austin with a whole bunch of Bitcoiners, and I paid a bill that was like $150 over Lightning. So, that was no problem, just went through straight away. So we got to start thinking about this. So there's a couple of different answers to that question. So I guess I'll kind of back up and talk about the things that customers are concerned about. So you got a couple of different types of customers. I mean, you've got people that are based in, the Western world, a lot of like North American users that are using Zaprite. And they're Bitcoiners, so they're familiar with both on-chain and Lightning. So their main concerns are just having a product that works. So like all these different features. So like a lot of the feedback I'm getting right now is about like feature sets and tweaks and different UI updates. And oh, hey, I noticed when I'm adding a task to the project management, like can you have this extra field where I add it in? Or when I import my contacts, I'd like to be able to give them a company name, not just a person name, and I'd like to be able to put a reference field in there as well. So all these little different things that they just want to be able to use the product in like a much smoother way. And I guess that ties into then like, a lot of, certainly if you're earning, sending out invoices for $10,000, $20,000, and we've seen invoices in Zaprite that are going out for like $30,000 plus. So, if you're invoicing that type of money, you're going to do that on chain right now, right? Now there may come a time in the future where you can do that on Lightning. Then we've also got the, Fedimint thing. If this takes off and people start using like, Fedimint tokens, we're going to have to like think about that aspect of it as well. I've got Liquid in there as well, where people can take in LBTC, and they can maybe do Tether on that as well if I start thinking about how stable coins might be integrated. And this is something that I am thinking about because I've been talking to a few people over the last couple of months who have given me like these very different use cases for how stable coins would fit into the mix. Some people are, well, we want to use Zaprite. We're based in Africa or Central South America, and we don't want like the volatility of Bitcoin right now, but we want to we don't have access to the right banking tools, so we want a stable coin. And then you've got that same kind of like use case, but from the other side where you have, companies and individuals in, North America who want to hire contractors who are based in these places, and they want to be able to pay them in Bitcoin and have that converted to stablecoin on the other side, because that's what these people are wanting. So there is the kind of opposite use case of that as well, which is being discussed, and people have like requested that. So there's a lot of different moving parts and a lot of different aspects to it, which I think like could be solved. Obviously, like, we haven't got there yet with Zaprite, but there's so many different areas that we can think of integrating, and obviously they'll just keep expanding, like I said, with things like Fedimint coming in. Okay, now we've got to deal with like tokens and how does that work, because you're going to have different tokens issued from different Fedimints. Like it's an evolving industry for sure, but I think it's an exciting opportunity to integrate a lot of these different things and think about very unique use cases that may come up in the future, or stuff that we can't even imagine will come up in the future. But I think that because we have some of the greatest people working in this space, that we have a huge opportunity to very quickly iterate through all of this stuff and provide some real value for users.
Mm-hmm. So do you know today what the mix is between like people paying in Bitcoin versus, I think people can pay on credit card right now, right?
Yeah, so I've added in the Stripe credit card functionality in there. I don't have stats on that yet because it's only been in there about a month, and I haven't been able to like pull out the stats on it yet. But that would certainly be an interesting thing to see. My gut tells me that it's not going to be huge, at least right now in the first month, because I would imagine that all the users that have signed on to Zaprite so far have done so because they're interested in the Bitcoin earning side of it. Whereas I think the Stripe credit card aspect is more just a tool for me to be able to like hopefully reach out to that bigger market and attract those people in who are like, well, I already use this other invoicing tool over here. I don't want to use two tools, like one to invoice people in Bitcoin and another my standard one I'm using. And so for me, integrating Stripe in there was just another way where I can say, well, hey, now you can still offer both to your users. Like, come on over to Zaprite, like you can give them the choice. And I think having Stripe in there as well, I mean, like, to be perfectly honest, I kind of struggled with that decision of adding Stripe in because, like I said, I'm just like hardcore Bitcoin maxi, and I didn't really want to build a tool that makes it easier for people to move fiat around. And so I resisted putting credit card payments in there for quite a while. And the thing that changed my mind eventually was OpenNode announcing that they're testing a plugin that connects to Stripe that allows you to automatically convert all of your Stripe credit card payments into Bitcoin. And I think that's like, pretty huge. So if you have an OpenNode account and a Stripe account, you can just connect them, and every single Stripe payment that comes in, Stripe will just plug into OpenNode and send it over, and OpenNode will convert it to Bitcoin. So that's kind of similar to say what like IBEX or any of these like POS systems are doing right now, where you can take in Bitcoin and they'll convert it to USD on the other side. So you're just seeing this integration between Stripe and OpenNode, which allows the opposite. You can now get paid in fiat and have it auto convert to Bitcoin on the other end. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think there will be more and more tools like that on both sides of the argument, so from the merchant side and the user side. And we'll see a lot more of that like kind of streamlined transfer between like fiat and Bitcoin, particularly with things like Strike and Cash App. You can scan a regular Lightning QR code now with a Strike app, and it can pull out your dollars and send over the Lightning Network. Like, that's pretty cool, right? So you can imagine that spreading out to every other app that's out there, and all of a sudden now we have this like really like seamless interoperability between fiat and Bitcoin rails. And so now you can start to offer all these tools that just give people like complete freedom about what they want to do, and just manage it on both sides.